What's going on, y'all? My name is Lorena Jack, and I'm here to welcome you on an episode of Lorena with Love. I started this platform in order to share my experience that I've had with life, and not only just with life, but also as being a single mother. I have been a single mother for, I guess you can say, 3 to 4 years now, and it has been a journey. All right, it has been a major journey. I have a platform that I help single mothers. It's called Hey Mama Hey, and soon people will be people who need help, single mothers who are recently getting out of a toxic relationship and need somewhere to go as far as support. I'll be starting that soon where they can go to, and I'm also helping people just get through life, okay? Because there's not enough love that gets spread around. I mean, I feel like love has like this taboo, you know what I mean? And it didn't do nothing. Love is always love. And what we need to understand is it's the people that misuse it. It's the people who don't understand it or haven't experienced it. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times we get it misconstrued and we be like, oh, love sucks, love is this, love hurts. And it's not love. Love is consistent. Love is love. It remains the same no matter what. It's how people use it. You know what I'm saying? Just like, for instance, uh, marijuana, people smoke and they're like, oh, smoke marijuana is bad for you. Well, not necessarily. It's a natural herb. It helps and heals. And smoking it is what's bad for you. Smoking is a carcinogen, and that's what gets you messed up, because then it fills your lungs with smoke, where now your body's like, okay, what do I got to do with that? Right now, consuming marijuana in a way helps to heal. You know what I'm saying? Allowing your body to use that herb does a lot better than using that smoke. You know what I'm saying? So you could say the same thing about love. How you use love, how do you utilize it, determines how love is, and not enough people are using it in the right way. So I just want to share a little bit and spread, a little bit of love. That's why it's Lorena with Love, because throughout my experience in life, I have definitely remained consistent when it comes to just being positive. Now, don't get me wrong. I have had my issues where I was just like, and I've cursed love before too. And when I was in the stages of not really understanding, but every time I snap back, being optimistic, being ready to love again, being open, and I'm not gonna lie, it's caused a few hurts here and there, but nevertheless, it's always been beautiful to experience. And as I've grown and as I've been on my healing journey, I've just been able to open up and see just how beautiful love really is and how limited it is, because people are afraid to just tap in because they're afraid to get hurt. Right. So this platform is for that, to have a safe space to share experience about life, to share the experience about love, and to help those single mothers who need help, because it's not easy. Okay, it is not easy. So sit back and relax, and we're actually going to share this. This episode is about single mothers. Okay, now don't mind me if you catch me going like this. Listen, I have been. Apparently, the mosquitoes had Thanksgiving. Okay, because my legs are riddled. I had thought I got over that when I first left. So I relocated to Miami, right? And I was in the city of Miami for a minute. And when I first got there, I was like, oh my goodness. Because I was coming from Las Vegas where it's dry. So we didn't have mosquitoes unless it rained, and it was just sitting water. You know what I'm saying? The only time I have experienced mosquitoes was when I was staying in Texas and I had sitting water and I didn't realize that's what's housing, right? So I'm in Miami and I'm just like, are you serious? Why in the heck am I getting bit up? Boom, boom, boom. So I was like, nah, nah, nah. So I got some apple cider vinegar and I was putting it on me like I was dousing. I put it in a spray bottle, spraying myself every time I went. Like, yeah, I probably wasn't smelling good when I was walking by people, but I wasn't getting bit either. So I think my comfort was a lot more concerning than me smelling good to somebody. You know what I'm saying? And anyway, if you are attracted to me, you're attracted to me. If you don't know what apple cider vinegar smell like, then what we doing? So, yeah. So then, like, I come out, I moved, finally get to my place, right? And it's more of a country area. It's more of a agriculture area where there's more plants than the city, right? More grass, more fields than the city. And I'm thinking I'm good. And I guess the cocoa butter and all that stuff, trying to smell good, feeling good, I smell like a snack. Let me tell you, I smell straight like a snack. And yeah, my legs are evident. I have so many big bulges on my legs that are itching, and I have some on my arms, and then I just discovered that there's some on my lower back. And I know I'm not supposed to be scratching. Even my twins is like, "Mommy, stop scratching," because I tell them that. Oh my goodness. And they be like, "Oh, you stank, Mom," because I be putting apple cider vinegar on. But I'm telling you, I need it. I need it. I need it. I'm telling you, I do not like this itching. I feel like a thing. Just, you know what I'm saying? It's annoying. My legs are on fire. So forgive me. Forgive me if you're like, "What is she doing?" That's why. Okay. The skeeters. The skeeters done got me, baby. Okay. So this thing about being a single parent, oh my goodness. Why do people think, like, why do they think this is what you call for? This is what you asked for? Why do people think like you signed up to be a single parent or mostly single mothers? Because if you think about it statistically, there's more single mothers than there are single fathers. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a single mother. I'm going to speak for parents. Well, I'm predominantly going to speak for mothers because that's what I am. I'm not a man. I don't pretend to be, so I cannot speak for them. I can empathize and sympathize with them and give my point of view of what I think is going on. But we were always going to need a man to be able to relay whatever it is that they need, right? Okay, so as a single mother, I have been hearing, especially lately, it has been people talking about just, it almost feels like they're dogging single mothers as if we signed up to be like, we was just like, right here, me, you know what I'm saying? And from my experience, ain't nobody signing up for that shit. For real. No one is signing up to be a single mother. Now, granted, you do have some of those who are like, I just want my baby, but those people are on a different mission. Okay, they have other plans. They're on another type of situation. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna put them in that box. The ones that really want to be a single mother or say they do, and there's really something else behind it. We're gonna put them in that box. Now, everybody else who did not sign up to be a single mother, we gonna work on this, okay? Because 9 times out of 10, you were in a relationship and the relationship didn't work out, okay? Or if you did not reach that relationship part, you ended up meeting somebody, you was having a fun time, you ended up, getting it in, you know what I'm saying, slipped up, and you ended up having a baby, and they was like, well, hey, that's you, that's not me, and now you stuck with this child, your soon-to-be child from a man you barely even knew, and you're going to keep the baby because for whatever reason, either you don't believe in abortion, or you don't, or you've always wanted a kid, you know what I'm saying? For whatever reason, you keep the child. And now you're a single parent. You have those who got into a relationship, talked about kids, started a relationship, talked about kids with this person. So it was in the plans, having a family, starting a family and everything, you know what I'm saying? And then before you were ready, you ended up having a kid. And now it's just like, okay. And now you're trying to figure out whether what's going to happen. You decide to keep this kid. Now you're deciding to keep this kid. Now there's two options, right? You have the option where you choose to keep the kid and the relationship stops because he's not trying to be a dad. You know what I'm saying? He's not trying to have this responsibility with you. He's not trying to do any of this stuff, right? He was just trying to have fun. So he dips out, right? And then you have the other option, the other scenario where you stay in that relationship, but it does not work. Whether you remain boyfriend or girlfriend or you get married. And then now you're going through a separation or divorce. But the fact of the matter is that y'all got into a relationship, and for whatever reason, the relationship did not work out. And now you parted ways, and now you are a single mother. Okay, that doesn't sound like you signed up for it. That sounds like shit happened, and now you have to suck it up and take accountability and make things happen, make things work, right? All those scenarios sound like you got to make something happen. Simple as that. And a lot of people think that you have kids, that you were just being sexually active, like hyperactive sexually, and it's like, no. A lot of people only took one time. I can count on the hands how many times me and my children's dad were sexually active. On one hand, I can count, and within that time, I got pregnant with the thought of not even knowing I could. So let me tell you my story. Let me tell you a little bit about, not my story, but let me tell you about my situation when it comes to that, that little one of those scenarios, and then explain, what I'm saying, put a little detail on what I'm talking about. I'm telling you, this itch is feeling good, baby. So I'm trying not to. I'm trying not to. Okay, so I I'm coming back. So this is around 2018. Okay, this is when I am coming back from Texas. I had moved to Texas, right? Um, and I was like trying to get myself together out there. I had rented a house. Now, before I moved to Texas, my mom, she was going through some health issues, right? She was a diabetic, and she ended up getting a diabetic ulcer in her foot. So when I got there, got myself situated, and I had to go back and, make sure she was good. Now, I wanted to take my mom with me, but the problem was is that she was an employee at a hotel, and her insurance wasn't going to go from Vegas to Texas. So I had to be like, okay, you got to stay, because at that time I wasn't working. I was a licensed massage therapist, and I was trying to get things going as a massage therapist out there. But in the town that I was living in, I was living in Killeen, and Killeen was very slow. It wasn't like populated where you were actually going to be making money. When I was out there, I had to like travel. I had to drive to Austin, because then I was doing contract work with Soothe, and I had to drive to Austin in order to get work. And that drive, I mean, Austin, that traffic kind of reminded me of LA traffic. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't as bad, but it was there. And I had to stick, and I was just like, please don't stop and go. Please don't stop and go. I don't want to stall out, But I had to go back and forth, and I wasn't situated enough for my mom to come out there. I didn't have any benefits. And so my mom was like, don't worry about it. I'm going to stay here. So she stayed in Vegas. I had a place. I had a 3-bedroom house. It was big enough for her. Wheelchair, all that stuff could have went. It's just, as far as the insurance, I didn't want anything to happen to her, and we weren't able to take care of it. So she was staying in Vegas, right? So her foot gets better and all that. We fast forward, her foot and all that stuff gets better. She tries to go back to work and whatnot. Um, I ended up getting a job at a telecommunication place, right? I was in training, and I'm talking to my mom on one of my breaks in training, and she's telling me like, I'm like, hey mom, what's going on? And my mom, she didn't like, this is my best friend, okay? Our birthdays a week apart. She's a February Pisces, and I'm a March Pisces. You know what I'm saying? Hers is the 21st. I was on the 2nd of March. I'm on the 2nd of March. So a lot of times she doesn't like stressing me out. You know what I'm saying? I'm the oldest. A lot of stuff came down on me. And she didn't like stressing me out. She knew that if she told me something, that I was going to be like, okay, what? And get on it. So she was like, nothing. And I'm like, no, what's wrong? And she was like, well, I have a doctor's appointment, but I don't have anybody to take me to the doctor's appointment. I'm like, why? You got adults out there with you to help you. What is going on? So nevertheless, I had called up a homegirl, and I was like, hey, can you take my mom to her appointment? She's like, sure, no doubt. So I got that taken care of. And then because of that, it made me say, nope, I'm going to go home and take care of my mother. Now, before I can get there, she ended up taking a surgery, right? She was trying to get her eyes right. because she wore glasses and she was trying to get LASIK surgery so she didn't have to wear glasses anymore. And so she did that, but then there was blood in her eye or behind her eye. So then she was losing her vision. One eye ended up getting cataract or glaucoma. First it was cataracts and then it went to glaucoma or reverse. She got both of those in one eye where she couldn't see anything. You know what I'm saying? It was solid. And then the other eye was getting ready to go too. Now, if you don't know, when you have diabetes and your sugar is consistently high, like high, a lot of times the eyes are the last to have issues, right? And that's what was happening with my mother. My mother has had plenty of times where her blood was high, but she never was in a diabetic coma. Like this woman was like, I used to say she was cheating death because most people would be in a coma and they would have to, get brought back because their sugar was too high. My mom's sugar would be in 5, 6, 700s. Like, woman, So I was just like, dang. So I was like, you know what, mom, I'm coming home. Now, by this time, by this time, I had I was already, like, I was in the process. I had already applied to the VA. I'm an ex-vet. I was in the Army. So I had already applied to the VA hospital, right? So I was just waiting for them to, respond. So while I was at the telecommunication position, and they did. So before my training was even over, no, actually, I had just got out of training, right? I was probably like a couple weeks out of training. And I, boom, went there. And I'm working there. And then I was like, okay, I'm about to go back. My mom needs me. I'm going back. I was like, I'm gonna get what we need, and she gonna live with me, and we gonna be okay. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get my girl. So I leave. Um, I get there in April. I drive with my stick, my Toyota Corolla, baby, 1994. Get it? Yeah. In my head, the song "Flashback Back Again" that was in my head. I don't know why, but anyway, so I drive back to Vegas, with my car in April, and I'm trying to get situated. I'm looking for work. I'm trying to get her stuff situated. She didn't have a primary care doctor. She only had specialists. I'm like, what is going on? The only way you have specialists is you have a doctor. Like, no one, what I'm saying? Papers were in order and all that stuff. I was just like, okay. So I was really working on getting her stuff in order. At the time, I ended up being a caregiver. Like, I was doing home care for people, and I had a few clients that I was working with. And we were going to appointments. I was taking my mom to appointments and everything, and she couldn't see. I remember there was one time where her vision was like, it was a couple times. One time I wasn't there. She was with my sister, and she told my sister, she was like, give me a pen and paper so I can write. And she wrote me a note that I still have to this day that says, "I love you, your mom." And I cherish that. I cherish that so much because it was just like, dang, she thought of me when she was able to actually see. You know what I'm saying? And so the second time where I had started locks. I started my locks when I was in Texas, right? And that was like 2017. In September 2017, I started my locks. But I started with like a shaved head. I had like all this was there, but around here was shaved. And so I had to let it grow out a little bit, and I braided it and then started my locks from that, right? And at this time, my locks were like probably about right here. And my mom was able to see. She's like, "Oh my goodness, your hair is so pretty." And it just brought me to tears. Oh, my bad, y'all. It just brought me to tears. I was just like, man, oh, And so, yeah. So I'm like sitting there trying to look for work and get things situated because her lease was up by the end of that year in December, and we're in April, May time frame, right? And so yeah, we're in April, May time frame. And so I'm trying to I'm really trying to work and get things going so that by the time her lease is up, we already have a place. So I'm working, 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 trying, and I end up getting a position for security work, event security. And I'm trying to get all the paperwork together. And she passes in May. So I'm just like, damn. And the thing is, the ironic thing is that she passes a day before her cardiac appointment, and she passes of a cardiac arrest, a heart attack, right? So fast forward from there, I'm like, I'm in this zone because half of that, from half of that time, I don't even believe she's gone. I'm like, she's gonna wake up. I had problems like thinking, um, oh my goodness, she's gonna wake up and she's in there alive. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't sit. Even after her memorial service, after she had been cremated, it was still something in me, just like you know what I'm saying? And eventually I got through that, but my processing was still kind of like. So I'll do another. I'll do another episode on talking about loss, and then I'll go through in more detail about the story of, how I processed that in my journey through that, because it's kind of intense. It took me a minute to get through, and I'm still kind of slowly processing it, but I'm better than I was. So yeah, fast forward, I'm like in this mindset where I'm just like F everything and I'm trying to escape. And so I'm just trying to work. And I ended up getting those security jobs. So I started doing events and whatnot, trying to make my money and whatnot. Because I'm staying with my sister in my mom's room. You know what I'm saying? And the lease is going to be up. So I was trying to figure out, okay, I got to make money. I got to figure out where to go. So in the meantime, I end up meeting this dude, and I'm not paying attention to everything. The thing that caught my eye was the fact that we were having a conversation that was intellectual. And at the time, any other dude that was approaching me was not talking like that. And that's what caught my attention. So I was just like, oh, okay. And then when we finally just started like chopping it up, it was almost as if like we knew each other because we were both from LA. So we were like, a lot of times when I meet people from LA, because I'm originally born and raised from LA, graduated high school from there, Inglewood High, Inglewood, nah. But I'm usually like, I usually bond hella tight with people from LA. So we chopping it up and everything, and we hit it off hella good. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, and now, mind you, I lost my mom about 4 months of me meeting him. I lost my mother, and so real, side note, my mother, this woman was amazing. She was not perfect. Now, understand that she was not perfect, but she was amazing because she came from being in and out of foster care, fighting her pretty much her whole life, trap queen, all this stuff, you know what I'm saying? To deciding to have a kid, me, and just giving me so much love, the love that she wanted in life, that she was expecting to get from others, she gave it to me. And I gave it right back to her. And only people who've experienced love like that understand what love really is and understand how amazing and unconditional it really is. Because no matter what, my mom was always there. And so when I lost her, it was kind of hard because I was like, what do? I go to her every time. When I need something, that was my safety net. So now I had to figure out how to live this world without my safety net. Now, on top of that, that was a big fucking hole, a big fucking void to fill. And I filled it. I mean, I was trying to. I was trying to. And so here comes this person giving me this attention, talking all this stuff, and just big grand gestures and shit. And I soaked it up like a sponge. I did. Now, mind you, I definitely know at this point in time, you know what I'm saying? And when I ended the situation, I definitely knew that I wasn't supposed to be in a relationship. I was not ready to be in a relationship. Now, I know this might sound crazy. My kids were meant to be born, but I was not meant to be in a relationship. And I get that now because I wasn't able to process the emotions that I did. Because if I was, then I would have, everything would have been handled way differently. You know what I'm saying? And I would not have been put in predicaments that I was put in for things to happen the way they happened. So I had to sit down and process the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? But before I jump too far ahead, so yeah, I meet this dude. We hit it off or whatnot. It was kind of tough because he didn't really have his own place. He was staying with his mom at the time, right? And I didn't have my own place. So we got it in, but it was very sporadic because of the fact that we were in other people's homes. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that I had conceived was kind of like, and at the time I found out that I had conceived, he wasn't even talking to me. So he gives me all this attention, and for a month and a half, he gives me all this attention. He's cooking me meals. He's getting my plates. It's, oh, you can never do anything wrong. All this stuff, right? Making me just feel like, oh my goodness, right? And then a month and a half after that, nothing. All of a sudden, I don't get, he don't respond to my text messages. He starts ignoring me. He'll hit me up here or there. He'll tell me, oh, I've been working. I'm really busy. I'm working overtime. But yet, not realizing I paid attention to you. Like, you're on your phone. You watch videos. So I know you see my calls. Like, that's what I kept saying in text. Like, I know you see my calls. I know you see my stuff. Like, it only takes 2 minutes to reply back and just respond. And so I was going through that the whole time. And then I found out that I was pregnant. And I was like, no, I can't be pregnant. No. Dang, I scratched this open. My bad. But I was like, no, I can't be pregnant. Nah. So I took a test, right? And it said it. I went and bought another one that actually said, because the one I had, it was colors. It was like the lines, right? And I was just like, I need to be sure. I need to be sure. So I ran to the Target that was next door to the building I was staying at, and I had got a cleared pregnancy test. I still got it, I think. And it said pregnant. I was like, I need to take it again. My sister was like, if it says it's pregnant, you're pregnant. I was like, I don't know. I don't know. So I'm like, oh shit, I'm pregnant. And I tell him, and he tells me, we're not ready for no kids. We're not ready for no kids. Now, what I'm hearing is the fact that, well, first, I was like, damn, I'm pregnant. And then the next day, I end up having, while I'm processing this, I end up having some bleeding. And the lady I was on the phone with, who was like my associate at the time, she was like, well, don't think anything negative. Just go check. You know what I'm saying? Go to the doctor and see. So my sister drove me to the hospital, the emergency room, and then they were like, well, yeah, you had a miscarriage. And I'm looking like, why are you smiling? Like, you don't give people news like that. Like, it like threw me off, right? So I'm like, okay, I miscarried. Okay. So the girl, she was like, okay, well, if you miscarried, you gotta get it all the way out. So she was telling me to take some herbs. Now I'm already a herbalist, but as far as that, I didn't know. And she was like, I've had miscarriages before, so you take this, da 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 da. So I'm doing that, and I'm like, I'm still feeling sick. Like, it's not. So I was like, you know what? Let me go to the VA doctor. You know what I'm saying? Not the civilian. Let me go to the VA hospital. So my sister drives me to the VA hospital. And I think I drive myself to the VA hospital because I was like, I need to find out. And I go in there and they were like, well, you're pregnant. That's why. And I was like, what? They told me I wasn't. It was like, no. So then we go do the ultrasound. It's like, see, 1, 2. Now, the funny thing is that before we even got pregnant, I had told him when we were hanging and stuff, I told him, I said, I don't know when, I don't know how. And I said, I don't know how because apparently he was supposed to have low sperm count. And he's told other people that he's been with that. that thing. And I was not aware, you know what I'm saying? I'm 33. At this time, I'm 33. There's been plenty of times that I could have got pregnant and never did. So I'm like, okay, like this is crazy, but I was like, I don't know how, I don't know when, but we're gonna have twins. I told him this. So fast forward to this time, and then they're like, yeah, you're pregnant. And by the way, 1, 2. And I was like, and they look like little peas, like little long peas, just do do. I was like, yo. So yeah, I find that out. Then I go tell him. I can't remember how he processed that right away, like in a text message, because I was really trying to talk to him. I showed him, like I was really trying to get his attention to talk to him, because of course, he was avoiding me, and I was just trying to figure out, like, okay, how do I let him know this? And yeah, I finally get a response. I go show him to prove to him, like, yo, I'm not lying, pregnant. And he was like, oh, okay, we're not ready for no kid. That was his whole thing in the beginning, right? And then as I went through so we were supposed to move together. We had talked about it and everything, right? Didn't. So now I'm trying to figure out where to stay. I had to stay in the shelter. And then I worked my way to get a place and get a car. But at the same time, I'm just like, I'm doing this by myself. My mom is gone. You're supposed, you know what I'm saying? Like, we talked about doing this. Now all of a sudden you not. But I was still like trying to hold on to something, still going after him, still, you know what I'm saying, trying to make things work or whatever. And he was just dragging me, making me feel all kind of ways. One minute he was warm, next minute he was cold. It was just like, are you serious? And I was really going through it. It was not how I wanted my pregnancy to be. So it's time for me to have my girls, and I let his mom and him know, you know what I'm saying? And it's a C-section, you know what I'm saying? And it was scheduled and everything, didn't show up. So I had to be, my sister was there. It was just her. No one showed up to the birth or whatnot, right? And so he did not come into the picture until 2 months after the girls were born. I'm doing all this by myself, figuring things out. I was going to school for automotive technician and dual majoring at a community college for automotive technician and body collision, right? Because I was like, oh, paint's good. People love to get their car painted, so let me go learn in that. But I loved working on cars, and I was like, if I'm going to do something, I want to make sure I like what I do. So that's what I did. But because I was nursing and classes start early, I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to do this. So I stopped. So I had the girls, and 2 months it was just me and them. And then he shows up like, oh, I want my family. Da, 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 da. And it wasn't how it was. I was trying so much. And this man slept on the couch. He had every excuse. You know what I'm saying? We probably were sexually active probably twice, and that was that. You know what I'm saying? I'll go into detail on that situation, but I don't want to drag this on because I really want to get to the point of being a single mother. So I just want you all to understand, like, it's not something that we choose. It's not. Okay. So yeah, uh we get evicted out of the place, right? Mind you, I'm the one paying the bills. I didn't get no help on the bills, no help on the car note, no help on the insurance, none of that. But I'm still here trying to help him get himself together and get on his feet. And I'm constantly putting money that I barely had, trying to take care of 4 people. And so, yeah, we get evicted and we have to go, and we go stay with his mom, which definitely wasn't You know what I'm saying? Like, I already knew it wasn't going to be that good. And I was like, we can stay in the car. You know what I'm saying? Like, because in my mind, I'm like, if we stay in the car, we're going to be pushed and thrust to actually get somewhere versus staying in a place where you can get complacent. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of what happened with him. He got complacent. And because things weren't right for me, I was not. I was ready to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not my mom. Different upbringings. It wasn't clicking. I need to go. And there was a couple times where I got my things and I left, but then I came back. I got an episode for that too. I came back, and it just was not right. It just was not working. So eventually I said, I gotta go. I told him, I was like, I'm leaving. I'm moving. And then the VA helped me get my stuff together, and I got a place, right? So then I was a single mom. And when I became a single mom, I really wasn't getting that much help. I wasn't getting help for daycare. I wasn't getting help for anything. I was finding a way how to make everything happen. Then when he finally decided to, you know, get the girls, because he couldn't keep them for a while, he had to get himself taken care of. And then when he finally was right, then it was just like sporadic. So it still wasn't that much help. You know what I'm saying? And then I was like, okay, forget it. I mean, I only knew what I know. My mother was a single mother, not by choice either. I might tell that story on another episode, but she was a single mother. So the things that I did, I only know based off of what I seen from her. So I just tried. I tried to be a good parent. I tried to be a good co-parent. You know what I'm saying? I had schedules and everything else. Like, so we don't have to get the courts involved. Here, boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? And it didn't go like that. It did not go like that. And I found myself making it easy for him to be a parent. You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, if you look back on it, there are several things that I seen once I was healed that I did that put me in that situation. I missed the red flags. Like I told you from the beginning, I shouldn't have been in a relationship from the jump because I wasn't prepared. I wasn't emotionally ready to be in that. Even though in the beginning I told him I have emotional baggage, I just lost my mother. Now I'm still trying to process losing my mother. I didn't have any real support for that. I was having heart issues because of the arguments and stuff, having to take nitroglycerin. I spent $1,000 on therapy. I spent money. I spent money on books, trying to make things work because I didn't want my kids to go through what I went through. I was raised with my stepdad and my mother, and I was abused as a child. And I always had, when I was like really trying to find a way, I always would be crying out for my dad, like, where's my dad? I wish my dad was here. Can you come find me? Like, that's what I would be yelling out. I did not want my kids to go through that. You know what I'm saying? I wanted them to actually have a relationship with their biological father and have a two-parent household and know what it felt like to have two parents in the household doing what they needed to do. And I was trying so hard for that to happen. And it just didn't happen. I loved so deep that it took me to pieces. I was not the person I am now, I was not. I didn't recognize the person who I was. And I can honestly say, I think I've lost some people who I thought were my friends because of the situation, because they kept saying, well, leave it alone, leave it alone. And I kept going back. At that moment, I realized, I understood why you don't tell people about your situation, because when you actually go back, you know what I'm saying, you can't cry about it. You can't whine and complain about it. You have to deal with what decisions you made. So as a single mother, yes, it has been very, very hard, but did I ask to be it? No. Like, I truly thought that I was going to receive the help or the partnership that I thought I had, and I didn't. And I know a lot of people, if you go outside of myself and you go to the people who were married, I'm sure a lot of people thought that they were going to be married for a long while and not be dealing with divorce. But the problem is that we weren't paying attention to our mates. And that is a big freaking deal. You need to make sure you pay attention to who you mate with. who you're having kids with is very, very important, because at the end of the day, if you don't have somebody who's supportive, who's going to be there for you, who's going to carry their part, do their part, it's not going to happen. And then you're going to be stuck being a single parent. So it's not about you just being hypersexual, you know what I'm saying? And you just leaving and you want, no, it's about adults not handling their shit and then it not panning out like it needs to. And so in that, you have to separate, and hey, you separate with kids. So I had to I shared my story because people have to understand that it's a process through this. It's not something that you wake up and just do. It took me a few years to even think about it took me a couple of years to think about just leaving. And then when I finally got the courage to just leave and trust myself to leave, like I was still dealing with trying to be, a understanding and considerate co-parent, and I wasn't even receiving that. I was getting counter parenting, counter co-parenting, and it was whew, you know what I'm saying? And now it's work. I'm not saying that it's not amazing, I'm not saying that it's not. I'm so glad they chose me, because once again, I'm receiving love that you cannot get from anywhere. You cannot make this type of love up. It is genuine, real love. And the only time I understand it or I feel familiar with it is from going back to receiving it from my mother. I'm telling you, but no one signs up to be a single mother. We sign up to be a wife. We sign up to be a partner. We sign up to be a family. And a lot of times it does not work the way we want it to work. And because of that, I personally feel that we shouldn't be ridiculed by it, because 9 times out of 10, everybody's going through the same thing we're going through. It's just that they don't have kids in play. You just so happen to not have kids into play. What happened? Because if we're going to keep it real, either you unalived when you found out, right? Or you took the plan B, or you've been on birth control damn near your whole life. Because I was on birth control since I was 16 up until my mid 20s. I was getting the shot, living my best life until I realized my body wasn't wanting it. It was rejecting it. So I had to get off of it. And then my body was letting me know, no birth control. We good. me trusting me trusting the person that I was with him saying that he has low sperm count, he can't have kids, and me trusting the doctor saying that you have endometriosis, so you getting pregnant is going to be difficult, is why I ended up with kids. Now, granted, if we want to take this deeper into a spiritual thing, spiritually my kids chose me, and spiritually it was meant for me to have them. It was meant for me to lead them, you know what I'm saying? But if you want to take this on a 3D notion, it was because of the fact that I trusted in the methods that were being brought to me. And I went with it, and bam, I was pregnant. And the situation that I was in was not working. And granted, I should have left from the beginning. I mean, regardless, I was still going to be a single mother. But when he told me, we're not ready for no kids, I should have took that as a sign. But because I was trying to hold on to something, because I had lost my mother, still processing that, I did not want to be alone. I was afraid to be alone. And I was afraid to be alone with these little beings in my hands, in my vicinity. I was afraid, being that he had already had a kid. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, you not new in the game. You not new in this. So I'm like, I need your assistance. You know what I'm saying? Being the fact that he had a mother, I'm thinking, okay, no. Mm-mm. Make sure that the person you mate with has amazing relationship with their mother, dealt with their issues with their father, and handle and actually went through their grief and stuff that they've gone through in their life so they can be able to process stuff. You need somebody that's emotionally available and mature enough to take care of all the duties, because this ain't for the faint of hearts. It really isn't. But that misconception that motherhood was something that we just chose, nah, we didn't just choose it. We didn't. It was something that we just had to do because shit happens, life happens, you know, and you either cry about it or you do something about it. And granted, it's a lot of us that even though we're doing something about it, we're still crying about it. We're still crying in those showers. We're still crying in the car. We're still crying in the bed at night after the kids are asleep. Because it's not what we signed up for. We wanted so much more, not just for ourselves, but for our kids. And it weighs on our hearts when we feel like we failed our kids. Yeah, bravo that you don't have to deal with the burden of disappointing someone that you love so much. But understand that just because we chose to have kids and it didn't work out to where we have to take care of them by ourselves, doesn't mean that we made a mistake. Doesn't mean like this was something that we tried to do. It's just shit happens, and it didn't work out the way we expected it to work out. I mean, if you go back, and I mean, there's a lot of I'm not gonna get into numbers, but the percentage is pretty high of single mothers. Go back and ask your mom if she's single. If she was a single mother, go back and ask her, did you choose it? She's gonna tell you, hell no, I didn't choose it. So yeah, oh, that was deep. That was deep, and I don't know. I just really hope that I kind of like touch somebody, people who may be going through this, people who like had was in that position to judge someone. Like, you can't judge anybody. You can't judge anybody. If you've never been in that position, you cannot judge anybody. All you can do is just be aware that this time it didn't happen to you if you're not a single mother. Like, this time, you know what I'm saying? Because single motherhood can also happen even if you were married and you lost your spouse. You're a widow. It doesn't always have to happen because the relationship didn't work out. Being a single parent, it just happens sometimes. So I really wish that people would stop trying to make it seem like this is like the fucking mecca of what we want, and it's not. It is not. Shit is hard. Nobody wants to do this by themselves. Nobody wants to be a parent by themselves. It is hard. It takes two people. It takes a village, actually. It takes a village to raise kids. And I got twins. When I lost my mother, I thought, I was like, okay, I lost my mother. I still have my dad. Because I got reunited with my dad at 16, right? I can tell you that story too. And so my dad, I was able to show him, he saw me pregnant. He was so happy, you know what I'm saying? He was ready for them to come. I lost my dad a month before I gave birth to my girls. So my main support system, because I didn't grow up with grandparents, my grandparents had already passed before I could even really comprehend anything. So my major support system was gone. I was really doing this by myself. I am really doing this by myself. Thank the universe for my sister. And I have a few other people who really, did what they could when it came to me needing something. And I'm so grateful for them. I'm so ever grateful for them. But that still, you know what I'm saying, barely scraped the surface when it comes to raising two little girls. Telling you, once again, it is not for the faint of hearts, okay? This is work, and you really have to be strong. So when you go out there start talking about single mothers, understand you're dealing with warriors. You're dealing with warriors. And if a lot of them are not where I'm at, where they've worked on them and they're in their healing process, they're dealing with some stuff on top of trying to take care of kids and all that energy and all those tantrums and needs and wants and energy and all that stuff on top of the stuff that they were already dealing with that probably didn't want to deal with before they had kids. So before we want to go talk about single moms, you should try to go help one out. Go help one out for a change. Go spend a day with one and see. And don't be like, oh, well, I already have. I had a single mom. It's different because when you were a kid, you had kid ideas. Now that you're an adult, now you can actually see from an adult perspective of how that life is because you have different perspectives from a kid to an adult. What you think is not. But now you have the ability to comprehend what's going on. Now you have the ability to understand how things move. So go spend a day with a single mom. See what she got to go through. See what all has to happen in a day before you go and start judging, before you go and put your little sauce on what you want to say. It's not easy. But yeah, that's what I have to say for this episode. And I mean, that was kind of intense, and I'm going to break it down a little bit more and go into it a little deeper to, you know, actually shining light on different areas, I just have to get this out. And by the way, it's my first one. It's my first episode. And the universe kept pushing me, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. So by any means necessary, if you could see my hookup, my setup, you'd be like, yeah, you doing it. But anyway, once again, I'm your girl, Lorena Jack. I thank you for joining me on the episode of Lorena with Love. And while I was itching and stuff, and I hope to see you again. Come on, come join me. Come and be a part of my family. You know what I'm saying? Come get this love. You're going to get this love. Y'all have an amazing day or night or even whenever you're watching this. And I will see you on the next episode. Okay. Love you.